The year was 1936, and the Iraqi sun beat down mercilessly on the village of Kujut Rabu, just outside Baghdad. A team of archaeologists, led by Sheriff Yusuf and Jawad al-Safar, clawed through layers of sun-baked earth, unearthing fragments of a Parthian settlement from 250 BCE. Pottery shards, bronze tools, and weathered bricks were routine finds, but one object stopped them cold. It was a modest terracotta jar, about 5 inches tall, sealed with a thick plug of asphalt. Inside, they found something extraordinary: a copper cylinder, meticulously soldered with lead, encasing a single iron rod. The components were oddly precise, unlike anything else at the site. What was this strange artifact? 2 years later, at the National Museum of Iraq, German archaeologist Wilhelm König held the jar in his hands, his mind racing. As a trained engineer with a passion for ancient technology, König saw something others missed. The setup, clay pot, copper tube, iron rod, asphalt insulation, resembled a galvanic cell, a primitive battery. In 1940, he published a daring paper suggesting the unthinkable. Ancient Mesopotamians might have generated electricity. His hypothesis was both electrifying and divisive. Could this Baghdad battery produce a current? König tested replicas, filling them with vinegar, a common acidic liquid in antiquity. The result? A steady 1.1 volts, enough to make your fingers tingle, enough to spark a global debate. The artifact's simplicity belied its implications. If König was right, it meant the Parthians, or perhaps their successors, the Sasanians, possessed knowledge we associate with the 19th century. The academic world erupted. Some hailed König as a visionary, others dismissed him as a fantasist, arguing the jar was a mundane storage vessel. Yet the mystery endured. Why was it designed this way? What purpose could a weak electric current serve in a world lit by oil lamps? The Baghdad Battery became a symbol of humanity's relentless quest to understand the unknown, a puzzle that demanded answers. As we step into the Parthian world, let's uncover the civilization behind this enigma. To understand the Baghdad Battery, we must first meet its creators. The Parthians, a people whose empire dominated the ancient Near East from 250 BCE to 224 CE. Stretching from modern-day Iran to Iraq, their realm was a crossroads of cultures, where silk from China, spices from India, and ideas from Greece mingled. Their capital, Ctesiphon, near the battery's discovery site, was a vibrant metropolis. Its arched palaces and bustling markets buzzed with merchants, artisans, and scholars. The Parthians were no mere warriors. They were innovators, their skilled cavalry matched by their mastery of metallurgy, architecture, and trade. Imagine walking through Ctesiphon's streets, the air thick with the clang of hammers and the scent of molten metal. Parthian smiths crafted intricate bronze statues and iron blades with precision that rivaled their Roman foes. The battery's copper cylinder, soldered with lead, bears the hallmark of their expertise. But could they have harnessed electricity? The science is tantalizingly simple. A galvanic cell needs two metals, like copper and iron, with different electrochemical potentials, submerged in an electrolyte, such as vinegar or wine, both staples in Mesopotamia. The result is a small electric current, a phenomenon the Parthians might have stumbled upon through experimentation. Their intellectual curiosity supports this possibility. Parthian scholars, influenced by Hellenistic Greece, studied astronomy, mathematics, and alchemy. Their neighbors, the Greeks, knew of static electricity, rubbing amber to attract lightweight objects, calling it electron. Could Parthian alchemists, mixing metals and acids, have noticed a faint spark? The absence of written records is a challenge. Parthian texts, often on clay or papyrus, rarely survived. Yet their legacy of innovation is undeniable. Centuries later, the Abbasid House of Wisdom in Baghdad built on this foundation, translating Greek and Persian knowledge into Arabic. Perhaps the Parthians laid the groundwork for a forgotten electrical experiment. The 2005 Mythbusters episode tested this idea, building replicas of the battery. With grape juice as an electrolyte, they generated 0.8 volts, proof the device could work. But what was its purpose? Electroplating, healing, or something lost to time? As we dig deeper, let's explore the most famous theory, Wilhelm König's electroplating hypothesis. Wilhelm König's theory was a lightning bolt in the archaeological world. In 1938, while studying the Baghdad Battery, he observed Iraqi silversmiths using crude galvanic cells, ceramic pots with metal rods, to electroplate jewelry. The process was strikingly similar. An electric current drives metal ions, like gold, onto a silver surface, creating a flawless coating. König connected the dots, proposing the Parthians used the battery to plate gold onto silver, a technique that seemed centuries ahead of its time. The idea was intoxicating. Imagine Parthian jewelers under flickering torchlight, crafting shimmering treasures with a secret technology. The theory hinges on the battery's ability to generate current. Experiments, including those by Arne Eggebrecht in the 1970s, showed replicas could produce enough voltage for small-scale electroplating. Eggebrecht claimed to have plated a silver statuette with gold using a battery replica, fueling speculation. But cracks soon appeared. No electroplated artifacts from the Parthian or Sasanian periods have been found. David A. Scott, a conservation scientist at the Getty Institute, argues that gold-coated objects from the time were fire-gilded, a technique using mercury to bond gold to silver. Fire gilding was widespread, from Egypt to India, and required no electricity, just skill and a tolerance for toxic fumes. The battery's low voltage, around 1.1 volts, is another hurdle. Modern electroplating demands steady, higher currents, difficult to achieve with a fragile clay jar. Gerhard Eggert's 1995 study debunked König's inspiration, showing the 1938 silversmith's technique mirrored a 19th-century British method, not an ancient secret. The romance of electroplating persists, though, because it challenges our view of history. We want to believe the Parthians were technological wizards, outsmarting time itself. But absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. Could there be another use? Let's turn to a more compelling possibility: electrotherapy. In the 1990s, Paul T. Kaiser, a scholar at the University of Alberta, offered a fresh perspective. The Baghdad Battery might have been a medical tool. Ancient healers, from Egypt to Rome, used electric fish like the torpedo ray to treat ailments. Submerged in water, these fish delivered mild shocks, believed to ease migraines, arthritis, or epilepsy. Kaiser proposed the Parthians, lacking such fish in Mesopotamia, engineered a synthetic alternative, the battery, to mimic this effect, delivering controlled shocks for therapeutic purposes. This idea aligns with Mesopotamia's medical sophistication. The Sasanian Empire, successors to the Parthians, ran the Academy of Gondishapur, a hub of medical learning where Greek, Persian, and Indian knowledge converged. Parthian healers, likely familiar with Greek texts, might have experimented with electricity. The battery's components, copper, iron, and an acidic electrolyte like vinegar, could produce a tingling sensation when applied to the skin. A healer might have dipped wires into the jar, touching a patient's temples, invoking awe and relief. Even a weak current could have psychological benefits, like a placebo, or enhance a ritual's mystique. Skeptics, like Brad Hafford of the University of Pennsylvania, counter that the battery's voltage, barely 1 volt, is too feeble for effective therapy. They note similar jars were found with incantation bowls, used in magical rituals, suggesting a spiritual rather than scientific purpose. Yet the line between medicine and magic was blurry in antiquity. A device that sparked could be both a healer's tool and a priest's prop, blending science with faith. As we explore this duality, let's consider another angle: the battery as a ritual object. Not every ancient artifact is a technological marvel. Emmerich Pachthury, a German archaeologist, argued the Baghdad Battery was a magical object, not a battery. Found near incantation bowls, clay vessels inscribed with spells to trap demons. The jar may have held sacred texts or charms. In Parthian and Sasanian cultures, copper symbolized protection, and iron nails were driven into walls to pin evil spirits. The battery's asphalt seal and traces of papyrus inside suggest it contained something perishable, perhaps a written incantation. This theory reflects the Parthians' spiritual world. Blending Zoroastrianism with local beliefs, they practiced rituals to ward off malevolent forces. A small electric shock from the battery, caused by handling its charged components, might have been seen as divine power. Imagine a priest in a dimly lit temple touching the jar to produce a spark, convincing worshippers of its sacred potency. Brad Hafford notes that similar jars in Seleucia, a Parthian city, were buried with magical bowls, some inscribed with gibberish to fool demons. The battery's design, functional yet symbolic, could bridge science and superstition, a testament to the Parthians' ability to weave the practical with the mystical. The ritual theory doesn't negate the battery's electrical potential. A device that sparked could serve both purposes: a healer's tool, a priest's prop, or even a curiosity for alchemists. But skeptics argue we're projecting modern ideas onto an ancient object. Let's hear their case next. Not everyone is convinced the Baghdad Battery is a technological wonder. St. John Simpson of the British Museum calls it a red herring. The artifact's context is murky. 1936 excavation was poorly documented, with no clear record of its exact location or associated finds. Its dating is debated. The pottery style leans toward the Sasanian period, 224 to 650 CE, not the Parthian one, 250 BCE to 224 CE, Koenig assumed. Similar jars, lacking copper or iron, were common storage vessels for scrolls, oils, or small items. The acidic residue inside could be from wine or vinegar, stored for everyday use, not electricity. Critics highlight the lack of corroborating evidence. No Parthian texts mention electrical devices, and no electroplated or electrified artifacts exist. The battery's voltage, 1.1 volts, is too weak for practical applications, and its open-ended design seems impractical for sustained current. David A. Scott argues, "We're tempted to see ancient objects as modern technology, but the evidence doesn't support it." The Mythbusters experiment, while confirming the battery's potential, showed its limitations. Multiple jars would be needed for significant output, yet only a few have been found. Skeptics don't dismiss the Parthians' ingenuity. They crafted exquisite jewelry, built sophisticated aqueducts, and waged war with tactical brilliance. But electricity? That's a stretch. Still, the skeptic's case leaves room for wonder. Could the Parthians have toyed with electricity, even if they didn't grasp its full potential? The final chapter reflects on why this debate matters. The Baghdad Battery, whether a true battery or a misunderstood relic, is a beacon of human curiosity. It challenges the notion that ancient people were primitive, revealing the Parthians as innovators who wrestled with nature's mysteries. Their world, rich with trade, scholarship, and craftsmanship, set the stage for later breakthroughs, from the Abbasid House of Wisdom to modern batteries powering our lives. The battery's story is a thread in the tapestry of discovery, connecting us to ancestors who dared to experiment. Tragically, the original artifact vanished during the 2003 looting of the Iraq Museum, a loss that stings archaeologists and historians. Yet its legacy endures, inspiring experiments, documentaries, and heated debates. It shatters the ignorance paradigm that underestimates ancient civilizations. As Richard Andrews said in his 2015 documentary, The Baghdad Battery forces us to rethink what ancient people could achieve. It's a reminder to question assumptions, to dig deeper, to honor the unsung minds who lit the spark of progress. What do you make of this enigma? Was the Baghdad Battery a fluke, a ritual tool, or a glimpse of ancient genius? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this tale of forgotten innovation lit a spark in you, smash that like button, share this video, and subscribe to Obscure Minds for more stories of history's hidden trailblazers. Let's keep unearthing the past together.